I've been making a lot of tomato salad lately, and today I'm going to walk you through 4 absolute winners. The first tomato salad I want to talk about is this gigantic bean and mint salad with tomatoes. Whenever I see a can or a jar of these giant beans, I cannot resist them. I just love how you can really sink your teeth into them. They're so meaty and creamy. So I took a can of these beans, gave them a really good rinse, and then I added some chopped parsley and mint, about half a bunch of each, a bunch of chopped tomatoes, and then I added some salt, some sunflower oil, and some chopped cucumber. This salad was so simple and so refreshing, and the giant beans are so satisfying. This is all we had for lunch, and it was perfect, with a bit of bread on the side. The next tomato salad I want to talk about is a little bit of a spin on a Caprese salad. I'm in the Balkans right now, and dill is everywhere. It's definitely the most common herb that I see in all the shops and all the markets, and I'm dill obsessed. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to make a tomato salad with mozzarella and make a bit of a dill pesto? Because I don't have a ton of equipment, my pesto was a bit more of a rough chop rather than a paste, but it worked out just the same. So I just took these really nice, ripe, juicy tomatoes. I got a packet of fresh, high moisture mozzarella. I actually see mozzarella everywhere here in Bulgaria. Caprese salad is a pretty common item on a lot of restaurant menus. I sliced up my tomato, and of course I'm staying in Airbnbs, so I had really crappy knives. The best way to cut a tomato if you have a crappy knife is to flip it upside down and cut it flesh side first, because that skin is really slippery. So if you cut it from the flesh side, you should be able to get through it even if your knife is crappy like mine. And then I made this dill pesto. So all I did was chop up some fresh dill, chop up some fresh walnuts and garlic, and then a pinch of salt. And then I just chopped that as much as I could with my knife. If I had a mortar and pestle, I would have used that. But this worked pretty well just with my knife. And then I mixed it all together with some olive oil, and then drizzled that over the tomatoes and mozzarella. And this was so delicious. Let me know in the comments what you think this dill caprese salad should be called, because I think it needs a name. This next tomato salad packs a real punch. I started by zesting and juicing a lemon and getting that into the bottom of a bowl. And then I added some chopped red onion directly to that lemon juice. Adding the onion to the lemon juice first kind of helps to soften the flavor a little bit. Since I already had my crappy box grater out, use a microplane if you have one. I decided to use that to grate the garlic as well. And then I just added a big handful of chopped fresh parsley, a handful of olives that I'd sliced, 2 really juicy tomatoes. One of these was juicier than the other. I do find that the tomatoes really vary around here. So I had a really good juicy one and then an okay one. And then I topped that with a good sprinkle of salt, a big drizzle of olive oil, and then some torn bits of bread that I just toasted lightly in a pan. You don't need to do the toasting part. You can definitely just use stale bread. If you have stale baguette or a crusty loaf, that's the best. I just had some slices of kind of 2-day-old bread that I just ripped up roughly and toasted lightly in a pan. And then I tossed it all together, making sure that all that juicy dressing really soaks into the bread. This is one of those salads that you kind of have to be into soggy bread to eat this salad. Years ago when I was in Italy, I went to a restaurant and ordered a panzanella salad, and I had never had one in Italy before. I'd only had panzanella at like North American Italian restaurants. And they served me this thing, and it just looked like an absolute pile of mush. It was like mushy bread doused with olive oil with tons of tomatoes. It was almost like you couldn't even decipher the tomatoes from the bread from anything else. It was just mush. And at first I was kind of disappointed. I didn't know if maybe they brought me the wrong thing. And then I tasted it, and it was the best tasting thing I had had. It was so good. And it was all about that mushy bread that was just soaked with tomato juice and that saltiness and olive oil, and oh, it was so delicious. So I'm into soggy bread. If you're not into soggy bread, toast the bread a lot more, make them like croutons, and then just toss them in at the last minute. Totally fine. The final tomato salad for today is a really, really hearty one. This one can stand up on its own as a lunch or a dinner. I started by finely dicing half of a red onion, and then I grated in a clove of garlic just like last time. I added a big handful of fresh parsley. This was probably like half of a bunch of parsley. And then comes the tomato. So this tomato was an absolute monster. Took me a while to chop it. It was humongous. I cut it into pretty small cubes because I really wanted this salad to be the kind that you can eat with a spoon. There's something so satisfying about salads you can eat with a spoon, you know? You get such a satisfying bite. Then I added an entire can of corn. Use fresh corn if you have it. Here I just used canned corn because it's easy and it was available to me. And then I added about the same amount of cooked green lentils. So if you have these canned, you can just add a full can. I cooked these, so I just measured about the same amount as the corn. The lentils really make this extra hearty. For the dressing on this one, all it is olive oil and salt, and then the juice from the tomatoes. So I didn't add any vinegar or lemon juice or anything. These tomatoes are so sweet and acidic that they basically create their own dressing. And then I finished it off with a big chunk of crumbled white brined cheese. This is a feta style cheese that's common in Bulgaria. If feta is what your grocery store has, then feta is the way to go. I hope you're enjoying tomato season as much as I am, and I hope that these tomato salad ideas inspire you to take your tomatoes in a little bit of a different direction. It's always nice to have some Greek salad and some Caprese salad and good old tomatoes with salt, but it's also nice to mix things up. Thank you so much for making tomato salads with me today, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.